All right, well, let's just go over what we did in class today. This is January 7th, 2012. We've got a very simple HTML5 document here in which we've made a menu bar. And here's our menu bar. I've changed this a little bit so that the color behind the menu bar items is not red. There's a reason for that. I'm going to preview this in Firefox right now. The reason I've changed it is because the more traditional way of doing this is when you hover to make the hover color some kind of an alert color, which is a red. It tends to be that people will have the hover be that kind of leapy outy at you-y sort of color, which is why I changed it up a little bit. I just, figured I might want to tell you about that. So here we are back in our code. And we determined that the way to get rid of the bullets that normally display with a list is to use the list style type equals none style. Display inline style is the style that makes your menu bar display horizontally as opposed to stacking up and down. And your navigation anchor tag is where you're going to get rid of the underlines. You're going to set your color. These kinds of things. Your background color, RGB 50-50-50 is gray. 201, 201, 201 is a lighter gray. And the padding is what pushed the space. So let's just see if I take some of this stuff out, whether you can actually see what happens if I do. Here's an CSS comment, right? So if I take this out and go back and look over here, I'm just back to my default. The default situation in CSS for anchor tags is this underline and this horrific blue color. And that's why we needed to give it a little bit of style so that we could get rid of that. Text decoration none gets rid of the underline. Alright, so here's my hover style. And that's really all there was to it. Now the only other thing we needed to worry about was having our unordered list items, meaning the list items within the unordered list, display inline, meaning horizontally, and list style type is none. Let's comment that out and just see what happens if we do. We may have to go ahead and comment out the other style too, just so we can get back to the basics of how horrible it truly was before we began doing all of this. So let's see what we get. Go back over here. Yeah, so here we are. We're at our bulleted list. The default for a list is these bullets. So when we're using HTML lists, we're going to get the bullets whether we like it or not. And when we're using anchor tags, whether we like it or not, we're going to get this blue color and we're going to get the underline. That's why we needed to override it with our CSS styling. So going back here, I'm going to uncomment. Comme ça. Voila. All right. Get in the habit of being very good at using CSS comments, because there's going to be times when you want to do stuff but you're not really sure you want to get rid of it or keep it or whatever, and you want to leave it there in case you want to use it at some later date. So there we go. We've just got your basic menu bar. Life is good. And in our next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this menu bar actually do a little JavaScript hover. Let's see what we get going on here. So here's our same menu bar, only this time when I hover over it, I get a sub-menu that appears. Not the most beautiful looking thing in the world because I haven't actually set up its positioning yet, but that's what we're going to learn how to do next.